What will the world be like for our grandkids and their grandkids? We can have a positive impact through the investments we choose. Then, what we wear can affect our confidence. Dressing for success really does work. And understanding the psychology of money can lead to behavior changes to increase our wealth. All this and more today on The Wealthy Life. Welcome to The Wealthy Life. Do you want to create a more sustainable portfolio but don't know where to start? Joining us today is Francis Chang, a portfolio manager at Raymond James Limited, to discuss how we can make a difference in the world. Francis, welcome to the show.
Hello, Sybil. Thanks for having me.
Well, I want to know how you became so passionate about sustainable investing in the first place.
Well, about 3 years, 10 months, 10 days ago, I became a grandfather. I have this beautiful granddaughter. Her name is Sage. The first time I saw her, I said, Grandpa will do the best to make the world a little better place for you. And unfortunately, a couple of thoughts come to my mind. First one is climate change. The impact is going to be tremendous.
We're seeing it.
Exactly. There are forest fires. We have more and more forest fire every year.
Yes.
I lived in Okanagan, Kelowna. We have nothing but forest fire in the last 5 years.
And the forest fires are devastating.
Yes.
So when you look at that little girl, all of a sudden, did you look at things through a new lens?
Yes, I did. And as my commitment to her, I changed my business model. I changed the name of my business from Chang Investment Advisory Group to 2050 Investment Advisory Group. The purpose of it is to focus to bring the global carbon emission to zero by 2050.
Now that is a powerful statement.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we can make it happen?
I believe, and I can tell you why I know we can do it.
So what do people need to do? How can we all help?
Well, first of all, you have to ask what you want, what you stand for, what you believe in. Your value will make a big difference. There's a saying, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. You need to ask yourself, what do you stand for? Different people have different perspectives. Some people have their value based on the philosophy, the faith. In my case, I look at the 17th Sustainable Goal of the United Nations. That goal has been worked through with many professionals, many experts, and if we follow that, if you focus on those 17 goals, there's a good chance we can do it.
So what are some of the goals that the United Nations has set out?
Poverty.
Eliminate poverty.
Climate change, diversity, sustainable water.
And there's 17 of these that
17.
people can either try to make a change in all 17 or pick just one or two.
Exactly. Or have that in your background when you make your decisions. And that's what I do. What I did was I look at the 17th Sustainable Goal and I use a couple methods. First of all, is called the integration. Integration method is already adapted by many financial institutions. Billions of dollars has been committed to this strategy. And what we do is when we look at investment, we don't just look at the return and risk. We also look at the environmental, social, and the governance factors. And based on that, we pick the best of its class.
Great. So when you're investing your money, of course, everybody wants to make a good return.
Yes.
But maybe invest with certain outcomes in mind.
Yes.
Because we really can make the world a better place.
Exactly. And then go further. For example, I want my granddaughter to grow up with equal opportunity as a woman. So one of the investment I use is a fund that focuses on women leadership.
Okay.
So what it does, it looks for companies with a high percentage of women in the upper management, on the board of director, and possible as CEO.
You know what's interesting about that is there are a lot of studies that show those companies that have more women at the senior leadership ranks actually outperform those that don't. So not only are you achieving a goal of equality, but you're making more money along the way.
Exactly. On that note, you see, for us to be successful to to meet the 17 goal, we need the full capacity of the human brain, both the man and the woman. And that's very important. But also, another things I do is I look at the theme that will make a difference. So climate change is a theme, but within that, there is the renewable energy, there is various mining resource that we need. We need to extract them in a very environmental way, bring down carbon emission. There's a whole list of things we can work on.
We need to protect the planet. We need to treat each other fairly, equally, a world full of love, and everyone taking care of one another. So what should investors look for? How do they assess whether their investment is responsible or not?
Well, most investor, you work with an advisor, okay? That's first question they ask, what kind of relationship do you have with your advisor? Are you a client or are you a customer? When you're a client, you share your goal with your advisor, and your advisor look into the tools available to him or her and develop a strategy. Unfortunately, sometimes it's only a customer relationship. With that, it's only transactional. That wouldn't do.
So you want to have a deeper conversation with an advisor that specializes in helping align your values with your investments.
Exactly.
And you know what, Francis? We have a great worksheet for our viewers. If you want to figure out what those values are, contact us at info@thewealthylife.com. Francis, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Sybil.
And don't go away. Learn how to dress for success after the break. Dressing well can increase confidence and increase career opportunities. But how do we know what to wear? Joining us today from England is Polly McMaster, founder and CEO of The Fold London, to share her thoughts on the power of dressing up. Polly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
So Polly, I want to hear what inspired you to start a clothing company in the first place.
I was so excited when I first started my career. I was really envisioning having a fantastic outfit and swanning into the office on my first day. And when I went shopping to look for my first suit, I was so disappointed. And I thought, this is very interesting to me. There's a group of women entering the workplace, was my first sort of foot on the career ladder. And I was really looking for clothes that would be inspiring and empowering. And I really struggled. So that was the first light bulb moment for me years ago when I thought, oh, there could be a brand that could build an amazing connection with professional women to really inspire them when they're dressing for work.
So you couldn't find what you were looking for, so you decided to create it yourself. What a go-getter. Not everybody would do that. I remember applying for my very first job as a young co-op student and finding that one suit. And when I put it on to go in for that interview, I felt great. I felt confident. And I got the job, by the way, so that was a good story. So what do you think women should focus on when finding the right outfits to feel their best?
I think you've really summed it up, that it's amazing how different you can feel when you put something on that's really perfect for what it is that you need. And one of the things that we always advise people to do is to invest in something that is great quality and to go for the best that they can afford. And the way that you would really look for that is looking for sort of telltale signs of amazing fabric, of looking where the garment is made, of looking how it is lined, because all of those factors are really going to contribute to how well it sits on your body and how good you're then going to feel in the garment. And it can make a huge difference.
You know, I think we've all experienced that. Sometimes we get lured into buying, inexpensive clothing because we want to change the fashion or the style, but the cheap fabrics, and if it's not lined, it doesn't flatter the body as well. And if it doesn't flatter you, you don't feel as good about yourself. So I think quality is important. Now, quality costs money, so maybe you don't have as many pieces in your wardrobe. What are the main pieces you think every woman should own?
So in thinking about, for example, building a bit of a capsule, so how could you have, for example, 5 pieces that will really stand the test of time for you? I would definitely advise about looking for a fabulous suit. And I think this is an area where you can actually have a lot of fun. What we're seeing is that a lot of our customers are going for head to toe color. And a few years ago, I think that would have felt a little bit shocking. And would you really have been able to wear that to something like a conference or into a more corporate work environment? But we're really seeing people able to get away with that now. And maybe since COVID, express a little bit more of their personality in what they're wearing to work. So go bold, go for a head to toe color, something that you feel really confident in, but you're going to stand out for the right reasons. I also think there's a lot to be said for a dress that is like a do-it-all dress. So for example, the one that you're wearing today.
Thank you, Polly. This is one of yours.
You look amazing and absolutely beautiful. And I think what's so great about a dress like that is that it does a lot of jobs. So you can wear it to something really important to express a lot of impact in the right moment. But you could also then wear it out. If we're seeing a lot of our customers now in this world of hybrid working, if they've got a day when they are going into the office, they're often combining that with other events in their diary because they're already out. It's the perfect moment. So maybe they're going to a cultural event like the theatre or the ballet, or maybe they're just meeting up with friends for dinner. So wearing a fabulous dress that really does do desk to dinner is going to go a long way in being a great investment piece in your wardrobe. And two other great pieces for me would be, I'm wearing a sort of statement blouse. And again, it's easy to mix and match with things. It expresses a lot of personality. It's got some flair, so I don't feel boring, but it's in a great neutral palette that I know I can wear with lots of different things.
And it looks fabulous.
Oh, thank you. The final piece I would really recommend investing in is a really great coat. And the reason I say that is that it's often either the first piece that somebody sees when you arrive somewhere, or it's their last impression of you when you leave. The other thing is that it might well be that somebody might handle your coat. So if somebody is politely helping you put it on, or perhaps they're hanging it up for you somewhere that you've arrived, they're going to be touching and feeling it. They're going to be seeing how you put it on. That sense of luxury, how well the fabric drapes, they're going to be really experiencing that just the way that you are. So it's a really nice way of sort of investing in yourself in something that is, like I said, sort of the best that you can afford in a really beautiful fabric, and you can really covet for season after season.
Polly, that's fantastic advice. Thank you so much for being with us today. I can't wait to go shopping again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really delightful to talk to you.
And stay tuned to learn how financial psychology can help you build wealth when we return. Money is more than just numbers on a screen or pieces of paper. It's an emotionally charged topic that impacts every aspect of our lives. Joining us today is Sean Maslick, an experienced financial professional, to discuss the fascinating world of financial psychology and how our money stories impact our wealth. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how did you even get interested in the psychology of money?
Well, I started to realize you could be the expert in your field. You could have had those 10,000 hours we talk about, read every book. But if we don't actually step into this knowledge, then we're not actually living this knowledge. And as a financial planner, I was trying to get everything right on the technical side, but I still felt something was missing inside of me. And that's when I started to really look at, wait, why do I think, feel, and believe what I do around money? And I'd never explored that before. And then a fascinating world of financial psychology opened up to me.
So, because there was a disconnect then. This is what you should be doing. This is all the reasons to have a good financial plan. But the drivers, it sounds like, were maybe misaligned?
Yeah, I was telling people all the time, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. I'm like, wait, should do? I don't know this person. Who says should? I don't know this person's background. I don't know their cultural experience, their religion experience, what their upbringing was. Did they have one parent, two parents? Did they have parents that worked or not? But yet I'm telling them they should do this templated approach that has no idea who they are. And then I start to recognize and realize that underneath the numbers we're humans. The human side of money is what drives our thinking, feeling, and believing around money. So when I found out that there's this field called financial psychology that really studies what are the deeply embedded emotional factors that drive our decisions, what values do we hold, what beliefs from childhood are unconsciously, because a lot of this is so unconscious, but driving these behaviors that as financial planner we're trying to change by just giving them a spreadsheet.
Yeah, and they're not going to change. You're not going to take action if you don't align and address what those beliefs are.
FP Canada comes out with their survey every year, and money continues to be the most stressful factor in our lives.
Yes.
Because we, at times, I don't want to say all the time, we fail to realize there's this knowing doing gap.
Yes.
And what I've come to see is that dealing with the psychological factors that act as barrier for making these changes, we can actually make meaningful and lasting changes around our financial identity, our financial behaviors, and so forth.
So what are some of the common beliefs that you've seen that can lead people astray?
So again, common's hard because we're so different. We have so many different backgrounds, and our money stories, our beliefs are really confusing, disorganized, because they're written from different parts, different chapters in our lives. But common things I would say to start with is that belief or money motto that we talked about, or our parents talked about growing up, like
yes.
Money doesn't grow on trees, you can't take it with you, only the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Whatever
right.
that statement is, serves as a foundational memory that really starts driving how we hold our beliefs around money. So I think it's really important as adults now to reflect back on what were those statements? Do we believe with them, or do we believe in them? Right or wrong,
yes.
At that time, maybe they were right, but now, how are they impacting our thinking?
Yeah, and I think about some families where the kids maybe grew up with no money whatsoever and hard to rub two nickels together to put food on the table. Maybe those kids sometimes believe that's all that they're worth, or on the flip side, maybe they overachieve or feel more pressure to earn even more money to never be in that situation again.
Exactly.
And it could be the same situation, but the exact same kid may have a completely different outcome.
And now you put that, say these are two spouses that come together.
Yeah.
They have these unconscious, conflicting money stories.
Yes.
And now I'm the advisor, who I'm unaware of my money story that might be conflicting. And the three of us are just talking in circles, and we're wondering why we don't get anything done. It's because we have these underlying beliefs that are so deeply embedded, that are driving our decision making, but we just aren't even aware of it.
So they're unconscious.
Very unconscious.
So how do you tap into that? How do you figure it out? How do you know what you don't know?
And this is the hard part. Like long-term, meaningful, sustainable change, it's hard, but it's really beneficial when we do it. And when I say it hard, it's not a quick fix. I can't say, oh, this is how you do it. It's gonna be done tomorrow.
Yes.
But it's really embracing the idea that we have these beliefs around money. We have a money story that is driving all of our thinking around money.
How do you find out what the money story is?
Well, Dr. Brad Klontz and Dr. Ted Klontz, they are phenomenal financial psychologists who really started this career, or this industry, and they came out with these 4 money scripts that we can give a link on the show notes, what helps us identify, based on childhood, what script we fall into. So there's the money avoidance. People tend to avoid money.
Yes.
Money status, we see, or our self-worth is kind of our net worth.
Yes.
Money vigilance, these are people who just want to kind of be very watchful around their money. They're very, very, like looking at the fine tune. And then money worshiper. These people believe that the chase for money is what life's all about.
Oh, I think we all can think of people in each of those categories. Yes. So did you change your own story? Yeah,
I fell into this because I felt like I was missing something. I was getting designations, certifications in financial planning. And when I came across Klontz's research, I realized I was a money vigilant to the max. My wife would attest to this. Every line item, I knew exactly what was happening. And I failed to realize that based on my own childhood upbringing, I was giving money so much power and control, because growing up I was a shy kid. And then I fell into some business related jobs. I was making money. People were like, oh, Sean, nice job. Look at you, you're making money. Yes. I'm like, hey, this money thing gives me a voice. So I call him Mr. Shy. It's my alter ego who's the shy kid who believes that money is power and control.
There is so much to talk about. I wish we had hours, but we don't. What's the one thing you would recommend our viewers do?
I would say a quote from Carl Jung, which is, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will continue to direct our life, and we'll call it fate. So it's understanding that we have these unconscious beliefs around money.
And viewers, if you want to find out what your belief is, go to thewealthylife.com, because we have a workbook to help you along. Sean, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Up next, beware of adding your kids as joint owners to your assets. Welcome back. Thanks for your emails and social media messages. We love hearing from you. Today's question is from Quinn. Dear Sybil, I am thinking of adding my kids as joint owners of my house and investments to avoid probate fees, but heard this might not be a good idea. Can you help me understand why or why not? With gratitude, Quinn. Well, Quinn, it's a great question, and there's pros and cons to adding your kids' joint title to your assets. Let's start with the pros. It makes for a simplified estate. When you pass away, those assets automatically transfer into their name, and therefore you avoid probate fees. Now, probate fees come into play when there's assets that need to be distributed as per your will. Probate fees are actually quite small. They're different in each province across the country, but they can add up depending on the size of your estate. But here's what people don't often think about is the downside to doing so. If you transfer your house, for example, into joint name with your kids, that house might be a second property for each of them. There's property transfer taxes that may get triggered in changing the ownership structure. And if it is a second property for the kids, then when that property is eventually sold, there may be capital gains taxes to pay in their name, whereas normally the primary residence is tax exempt. You also give up a little bit of control. What if you want to sell your house, your kids are on title, and they don't want you to sell? You need their signature in order to sell it. What if your kids get into financial or legal trouble? What if they're sued or they declare bankruptcy? If they have creditors coming after them, those creditors may come after your assets because their name is now on title as well. So there's lots of things to think about before you add kids to title. I recommend that you get both legal and tax advice before you make a decision. And that wraps up this edition of The Wealthy Life, helping you make smart financial decisions. Join the Wealthy Life Club and you'll get access to everything you need to live your version of the wealthy life.